Thank you all so much. While the chat box at the bottom should be open now, if anyone has any questions, and I'll wait for that to pop up, and you should be able to just type in your questions. And if we get any of those, then I'll read them out and I'll ask on the behalf of the, yeah, we've got some good positive response coming in. I just wanted to say, I genuinely, sincerely mean this, that it's a real privilege, I think, for us to sit here and listen to you read your work to the mentees. It's such a privilege. You know, we had over 70 people in the audience, and it's very, very brave, but it's also very generous. And I just want to say thank you very much for sharing. That was really great. We've got a few questions coming in. Lots of people saying huge round of applause. We'll do that at the end. One question, Jim is a first story writer in residence, and asks, what has, to Nida in particular, what has writing helped you understand or learn about yourself? And we can expand that out, but let's begin with Nida.
It's helped me to understand kind of how deep into topics I can look into them. So for example, with my Instagram poems, it's really helped being able, like, I was able to see that I can write about things like animals because of my passion for them. And it was really nice to kind of see that I can actually go quite deep into things and find the emotions in like really small things.
Thank you very much. There's actually one that's specifically for everyone, so let's use that one and to expand out. And this will be really, I want to know this. To all the mentees, and if we could have quick, punchy, short answers. What difference do you feel? No, wait, no, there's a better one. If there was one top thing you learned from your mentor, what was it? So let's start with, we're in gallery view. I'll start with Maria.
Well, I've just learned so much from Adam. It's been a real privilege to work with him. But I'd say just considering different interpretations. Often I'd write something and not consider a more literal interpretation, and it would come out with some funny results sometimes.
Thank you very much, Maria. And then Nida?
To just kind of go for it when it comes to sharing work, because the outcome's usually a lot better than you think, and it really helps your confidence once you've shared work.
That's, I can attest to that. That's really great advice. Mariama?
Having confidence in my writing mostly, but also like being able to expand on my plot, like where I did it very narrow to begin with. It's helped me expand it.
Thank you. And Veronica?
Sorry, what was the question?
What was the one top thing, the one top takeaway from your mentor?
I've learned a lot. I like what I've taken away from it. I've realized that Nikash made me realize there's a lot of things that I don't have to add in, or I should add in, and I still find it a bit difficult to edit my work. But I still remember like all the tips he gave me, so I keep following them.
Thank you. And Naomi? Oh, Naomi's on mute. He asked to unmute. Hi, Naomi.
Hi. Something I learned from Alice was when we first met, I always had this like idea that writers had to be perfect in everything they write, even in the first draft. And she told me something about just writing whatever comes to your head, and like how what you write doesn't have to be perfect, and that really helped me a lot.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. Someone once told me your first draft is not your first draft, it's your zero draft, which I think is like a good takeaway. We've got another question coming in from one of last year's mentees. Let me just find it. Yeah, and maybe we'll do the same thing again. We'll do a quick, punchy one-line answer from each of the mentees. what was the most challenging part of your writing journey across the mentorships? And we'll begin with Maria.
I think just continuing and having faith that everything would work out, and it was, everything was worth it, definitely.
Thank you. Anida?
Probably keeping up with writing every single day for a month for the postcard and the Instagram projects.
Mariama?
It's just to keep going, really. Like, it was always like I struggled with writer's block a lot, so it was really helped to, carry on.
Veronica? Most challenging part?
Yeah, no, it's the motivation. There's always that one, this timing where you just can't get anything done.
Particularly during lockdown, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm amazed that you were able to keep going. Naomi? Oh, on mute. There you go.
Sorry. One thing that was really challenging was like dealing with imposter syndrome and finding the way to write, because I didn't feel like I belonged to be here in this, because I had to like switch with friends, and it was really hard feeling guilty writing, so I just didn't do it for a while. But I think I'm proud of myself for like dealing with it head on and still deciding to write and taking this opportunity.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is a real it's a thing. It's something that needs to be combated, because I think it's designed. Imposter syndrome is something that comes out of sort of expectation of what we're told to expect from literature and told to expect from writing, and that's something that we need to work against, I think. And that ties into another question that's come in. Maybe I could open this one up to the mentors. Is, do you think, should opportunities like this, like the mentorships, is this something you would like to see more of in schools? Do you think that's something that would be should be encouraged as a more integral part of school life? Not necessarily just writing, but these type of mentoring relationships more generally. Maybe Nikesh, I could throw that to you.
Yeah, sure. I was a first story writer in residence at a school in Bristol called Fairfield for a couple of years, and one of the things that I've really noticed is that schools just don't necessarily have the capacity to like let people enjoy writing, and like there's so much focus on the way the curriculum is set up. And obviously I'm saying this from the outside, and I know a lot of teachers are watching, so hopefully this doesn't come across as me as insulting the amazing work of amazing teachers, but I really want people to read for pleasure and write for pleasure, and that's what I really love about the First Story program, whether it is doing the writing residence work or being a mentor in these one-on-one relationships, is that just the opportunity to help people write for pleasure, because you get so much from it than just writing that essay about whether Iago had motiveless malignity in Othello and all the rest of it. So yeah, that I would love to see more stuff like this where kids can really spark their imaginations.
Adam, maybe I could throw that to you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree and would echo what Nikesh has just said. It's so important to have this creative space and sense of freedom, which is really what writing is all about. It's about being able to open up, liberate your imagination, understand, own, investigate your experience, and the more space and opportunity there is for that in people's school experience, obviously, the better.
Charlene, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, hi. I think it's definitely about accessibility and giving students who are interested in writing the opportunity to experiment and practice on equal footing. I think what people don't realize about creative writing especially is that it takes practice. That's more important than immediate talent, and also that in order to be good at something, you need to fail many, many times. So in order to keep up that kind of morale, that's where mentorships come in really, really handy and essential. I went through that in Singapore, having mentors for creative writing as a teenager, and it really, really kind of sustained the practice. Yeah.
Thank you, Charlene. Alice, could I ask that of you as well?
Yes, I mean, I think for me, the importance of the one-to-one is absolutely key. You know, it's good to have groups and so on, but I think when you're struggling with writing and you're wanting to know what direction to take and so on, for somebody actually just personally to sit with you and look at what you're doing can have an amazing effect. And also, I think it really affects you because you're writing for somebody. And actually, we are all writing for somebody. Often it's a kind of imaginary somebody in our head. But if it's an actual person who you're thinking of and thinking, I'm going to send this to them, I want to know what they think about it, I'm going to get feedback from them, then that makes it that much easier to keep going. You know, it's too easy often just to think, oh, well, does it matter? Why, you know, why should I do this? Is anybody interested? But when you've got that person that's waiting to receive your work and wants to see it, and is paying attention in that way, I think the effect of that can be really exciting, and it can be really exciting for the mentor as well to have that relationship. And I think that one-to-one is very hard to substitute, really. It's quite a unique thing.
Yeah, I think that's something interesting you picked up on there, actually, that it's not just the mentee who's learning in a mentee relationship. You're, in a way, you can be mentoring each other, you know. As a mentor, you can learn a lot from your mentee. Lucy, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that being a writer really has nothing to do with whether or not you're published, or who publishes you, or how many books you've sold, or awards that you've won or been shortlisted for. None of that. I think being a writer fundamentally is that you understand the world and your place in it by reading and by distilling your experience into words. I think sometimes you write to express what you feel, sometimes you write to discover what you feel. And if you are a natural writer, if you have that impulse and that somehow gets shut off, or you're not allowed to practice that, or you're not able to explore that, you're not living the fullest way that you could be living. I see it quite often when I teach beginner classes for complete beginners who are adults. And often they say they were intensely creative as children, creative as teenagers, but at some point they took on the message. Maybe it was explicit, maybe it was implicit from people who weren't so supportive, that writing wasn't something that was worthwhile, that it wasn't something they should be doing, that it was somehow frivolous, all those things. And they find that they want to find a way back to that. And so I think that having writers, I know that the best mentors that I've had are the ones who, they give you permission and they take what you write seriously. And that's the first step, you know, taking your own work seriously and finding a way to make that part of your life. Your daily life is the most important thing. And the more children the more young people that can feel that's possible for them, can feel empowered to do that, better.
No, thank you, Lucy. I think we've got time for one more question, and this kind of dovetails with what you were saying, Lucy, about what does it mean to be a writer. You know, it's not only about getting published, about book sales, you know, and it encompasses a very a broad category. You know, it's about writing, it's about sharing work, it's about reading, you know, it's about exchange, it's about all these kinds of things. And someone's asked, and I just wanted to ask this of the mentees, how, maybe you don't have an answer and that's fine, you know, but how you plan, or what you would like to do, or where you think you'll take your writing after the mentorships have finished, which this is actually the culmination really of this year's mentorship program around now. It's the culmination of the 1 year. So I just like to throw that out to the mentees and ask, you know, what ideas or dreams or hopes you have for the future in terms of writing. Maybe I could start with Maria.
Yeah, So I'm studying English and creative writing at university currently. So that was a big step towards my dream, and I have various dreams of publishing my work and just having a day job of just writing. But at the end of it, as long as I'm just writing in some form, that's all I really want from life, really. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Maria. Nida?
Probably to get really comfortable with sharing my writing, because I think it can change both yourself and other people, and then also have an anthology of poems that are kind of traveled through with me from the beginning to the end.
Thank you, Nida. Yeah, and I hope this event has, helped with getting comfortable with sharing your writing.
Definitely.
And Mariama?
Yeah, so I want to publish Afterlife, hopefully. I definitely planned it all, so it really works out.
Yeah.
Just continue writing in general. Like, I just, yeah.
Yeah, to keep moving on, to keep writing, keep creating, move on to the next. Thank you. Veronica?
I'm going into journalism and creative writing at university. So not only short stories and, horror and being daring, but also at the kind of factual kind of side of writing and the news. And, I think that's a nice little change, but see both sides of writing to it.
Thank you, Veronica. And Naomi? Unmute. There we go. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
I normally write when I need someone to talk, because I don't really have a lot of that where I am. But I write so I could have someone to talk to. When I write, I basically want other people to feel like they can come to me, or my poetry could be an outlet for them to feel like they're being seen or heard. What I want from writing is just for other people to see, even if it's not a lot. Ultimately, I want to do something in film, and I want to make movies for people who are not as represented and whose stories don't have a chance to be told. So yeah, that's what I basically know.
Thank you, Naomi. Yeah, I mean, two things you picked up on there is one is the reciprocal nature of writing, or any creative work really, is that it's actually an exchange. It's not just your own work, your own voice putting it out there, but it's an exchange between your own work and the reader or the viewer. And the other thing that you picked up on is that, writing is one category of art, which is huge, and it can lead into other things. Any form of creativity can engender other forms of creativity. And it's just it's that creative impulse which is really important, I think, for us to nurture sort of culturally. Thank you all. Thank you so much for all your questions. You can see I'm just scanning down here. Someone has asked if there's anywhere to read the mentee's work. We do have 2 extracts up on the website, our website, which is Rathbones Folio Prize. .com, and further extracts are coming. So all of the mentees that you've listened to this evening will have extracts of their work on the website in the very near future, and they will be downloadable as PDFs. And just before we leave, I would like to invite all participants, let's see if this works, to turn on your audio and turn on your video, and we're going to give a round of applause to everyone. So let's give that a go. And unmute yourselves so we can hear the applause. All right. Okay. Perfect. Thank you all so much for coming. We had a really great crowd. Thank you, mentees. Thank you, mentors. Thank you, First Story. Thank you, Arvon. See you all soon.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.